Hello, gorgeous ladies. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. We are doing something a little bit different this week. And look, I'd like to say it's because I'm super organised or something like that, but homeschooling this week, so difficult to record videos during the day. Now, I know a lot of you, hello, if you're here, say hi, and also let me know if you can hear me as well, because as you may know, we do sometimes from time to time have some tech issues. So if anyone has any comments on that and can let us know, that would be fab as well. Hi, Virginia. Oh, it's so lovely to see you here. So look, we know that some of you feel a little bit uncomfortable about online shopping. And I guess the reason we are tackling this topic at the moment is because for some of you, your wardrobe isn't matching what you're doing day to day. So you may in the week have a very corporate wardrobe, and now that you're working from home, it's not quite cutting it for you. Or you may find that you don't have as many loungewear options as you wanted. Or perhaps you had a list of items that you were looking to replace, but didn't hit the shops on time. And now it's looking like that online is going to be our option for some time going forward. So we just wanted to give you some tips on how to make it successful, because we understand that there are nerves around this. So I'm going to share my top 5 tips. I'll make them pretty quick. And also please feel free to post some questions and things below, and I can answer those as we go through and also at the end as well. So our top 5 tips for online shopping success. The first thing to do is to make a list. Now, what I want to say about that is don't get distracted from your mission unless it's absolutely spectacular. When you start going onto a website, sometimes you can get distracted by the things that you like to buy. So for example, for me, it's a sparkly dress. Now, let's be completely honest. In the next few months, there's nowhere to wear a sparkly dress. And I might wear one at home, and we might do a little bit of a challenge around that over the next few weeks. But really, make a list of what you need and over the next period of time, and then really focus on finding those items for you. And again, if it's something that's really amazing that grabs your eye, then of course, maybe you want to treat yourself during this time as well. But number 1, make your list. Number 2 is to remember the key 3. And the key 3 are style, personality, color palette, and body shape. Now, when it comes to shopping online, what you want to focus on is those brands and retailers that really speak to your style personality. So if you haven't already done so, there is our style personality quiz, which gives you your dominant style personality. The key thing that I would say is to find those places that are right for you. We do have our free retail guide, 35 plus where to shop. So I'll post that in the comments after this, because I'm really bad at doing 2 things at once. And I will put that in there because we classify over 130 retailers by style, personality, color palette, and also body shape. So it means that you can really hone down on the ones that are going to be right for you. So remembering style personality is the most important. So going towards brands that really cater for your style will mean it will narrow down the options for you. So really understanding your style personality is going to be key there. The other 2, I actually want to talk in more detail for. And the first thing is that most people find it challenging to get the color right, or they're not sure if the color is quite right. So that is definitely something that you should be posting here in the group. If you find something and you're not sure if it's true to color or not, I would post it in the group. You have a resource of over 2,800 women in here, and Christy and I are in here as well. And it really is getting people's opinions. And there's lots of people in this group that have also had their colors done, so they will know whether or not it's going to be fit within a color palette or not, and they can give you advice around that. The second thing that I would do, or maybe that's the last thing to do if you're still not sure after these first 2, The first thing I would do is actually read the reviews. And I know a lot of retail websites, they do have reviews. And in particular, a good one to look at is Boden, where it actually does ratings based on true to colour, true to size, lengths, and all of those type of things, so that when someone posts a review, they're actually looking at all of those factors, so that you can feel really confident when you buy something that, one, it's true to color as it is in the image, because sometimes, depending on the lighting and things like that, it can look a little bit different when it arrives. Okay. The other thing to do is actually analyze all the images. And what I find is something that might look really bright or rich or true in one image, when you see it maybe modeled in daylight, all of a sudden you're actually getting the real color. So also look for images that have been taken in real daylight. That really gives you an indication of the color there. And you can see if it's quite bright or if it's a little bit softer, that type of thing as well. And the other option is actually just to test. And test based on what you've bought in the past. And we list out in 35 Plus Where to Shop different retailers that really cater for different color palettes, and whether or not they do tend to go for things that are more muted or brighter. So look at that as well, because that's often where things can look different. The cool and warm is easier to see on screen. It's actually the brightness of something, or whether something's a little bit softer and muted, that it's harder to see on screen. So it's about going from experience, from where you've bought before, because particular brands will definitely go for brighter or cooler or warmer or muted colors. So it's very much taking a look at those and gauging from that. And it's about whether or not you have the risk appetite to test as well. So whether you're willing to buy maybe a few pieces from a particular retailer to try it out, and then knowing that you might need to return some at the moment too. And I'll get to delivery and returns at the end as well. So I'll just see if anyone's got any questions so far for me at all. Okay, Virginia's saying she sometimes gets the colour wrong. Oh, I bet I might just turn off that. So sometimes get it wrong. Okay. It can often be light or sheer for my curves. Okay. So yeah, so sometimes it is a little bit of testing and looking at them in the different lights there. So thank you for sharing that, Virginia. I really appreciate that. So 1, making a list. 2, understanding the key 3. And then 3, we're going to spend a little bit of time on. And that is the shape, the cut, and also the sizing. Now, this can be tricky because sometimes we don't know what we're looking for, and we want to take it right back to basics here in terms of, I'm sure you've heard Christy and I bang on about it so much, about what is your body shape, and then also what is the shape that you are looking to create with your body and the clothes that you put on it. So what you're looking to do is to create 3 shapes. You're either looking to create an hourglass shape, so making the top and the bottom half appear the same size and then cinch in the waist. You're looking to create an inverted triangle shape. So for example, today and you're not going to see all of it, but I'm going for something quite boxy and soft on the top to add more volume to the top. And then I've put it with some skinny jeans down the bottom. That wasn't the best example. Excuse me for that. So that's the inverted triangle shape. So where you make the top half of your body appear larger than the bottom half. So if you think about a boxy and soft t-shirt over some skinny jeans, that's a great example of doing that. And the other shape that you might want to create is also what we call the rectangle shape. So a very straight up and down shape, so the shift shape. Now, when you are looking online, the important thing to look at is the shapes of the garments. And so often we want to see things modeled on people. So I really like sites where they have the garment like this, so you can actually see the shape of it. And also when they have it modeled on someone as well, so that you can see how it sits on the body. So if you find sites that do that, so for example, Bird's Nest are great at that, Sportscraft, Lena Broughton's great at it, Sasha Drake, DeCuba, Bowden, they all will do it. So it just gives you an idea. And so what you're looking for is the overall shapes. So this is just an example from a program that we use with our clients called My Private Stylist. And what it does is it shows you every cut and shape that is going to be right for you based on all your measurements. And what it does, it means that when you're really clear on the cuts and shapes that work for you, then what you can do is you can actually look online and go, that shape works for me, or this one does as well. So it's a really good guide in terms of looking at shape and how it's going to work for you. Now, if you don't have this guide, the other thing that you can do is maybe pick out a few core pieces from your wardrobe, and I'll just show you as well with tops. It just gives you an idea of the necklines and things like that, or collars that are going to work for some people. But if you don't have this guide, what you can do is you pick out some really great core pieces from your wardrobe that you know totally work for you and actually hang them up. Maybe take a photo of them and then look at the characteristics of that garment. So if we look, for example, at this hourglass dress here, and for example, if that works really well for you, you can see that it's got some shaping around the waist. It kicks out at the bottom. It's got an angled sleeve and the neckline is more of a V and a collar. So it's looking at all those elements and going, right, so if any of those elements are in the piece that I'm looking at online, this should work for me. So it's really drilling down and having a look at the different elements of the pieces to determine if they're going to be right for you. I know that that takes some extra work, and I know that it is an investment of time. However, what it means is that you don't have that disappointment when something turns up and it's completely wrong. And also it saves you having to go back to the post office and return things as well. So really looking at things that work for you and looking at the line and the design of them. Is it the neckline? Is it the shaping? Is it where the pockets are? Is it where the skirt flows? All of those things. If you do want more detail, what I'll also do in the comments is I'll put in our link to how to get your hands on this program as well, so that you can do that. Just going to have a look. Virginia's also saying struggling with finding the right fabric type online as you can't feel it, and whether it flows over the bits that you want to hide or not. So thank you for sharing that, Virginia. Yes, fabric, it can be a little bit tricky. So I know from, for example, when I do retail reviews or if I'm choosing anything online, I actually look at the fabric composition. And again, what I do is I look at some of my favorite pieces and I look at their fabric composition, because then what you can do is actually compare. And often ones with the same percentages will compare quite well. So do look at the fabric composition as well. That will give you an indication. And again, the reviews are perfect for that. If you're really not sure, and especially at this time where things are a little uncertain about how long warehousing is going to be open and things like that, I would recommend giving a call to the retailer and just asking about the fabric as well. And maybe they can give you a little bit of a walkthrough. This can be tricky if you're cooler muted, because cooler muteds find online shopping tricky because they like the touch and the feel of things. They want something to feel nice against their skin. When it comes to sizing, really what I would say is sizing is so different per brand across the board. So what is important to do is if you've already bought from a brand before and you know their sizing, that makes things much easier. Beware though, because sometimes if you look at, say, boxy and soft tops and things like that, and I know Witchery is one to be aware of, is that they will have something that you might normally be a size 10, 12 or 14 in, you might be coming down to an 8 or 10 in for some of their boxier, softer pieces. If you haven't tried a brand before, again, look at the reviews and also look at their measurement sheets. Now, I know that we take measurements and sometimes they're a little bit different to where the measurements are taken for different retailers, but do review those. And also Be open to testing. So I always buy a couple of sizes and return the one that isn't quite right. So again, it's about being open to testing these until you feel confident with the brand. So hopefully those are some of the things that will help you with that step there with that too. Nikki's saying, is there any place for polyester? I prefer natural fibers, but they're expensive, might not provide enough style options. Should we try to buy natural fibers mostly? And what percentage of synthetic fibers is best to look for? Really, it's a personal preference. So I buy things in so many different fabrics. For example, this would definitely be some sort of man-made fiber here. And it really depends as well on your style personality. I find relaxed naturals, classics, and some elegance really do prefer your natural fibers, especially relaxed naturals. Then I also find some cool color palettes as well. So usually your cooler muteds and your relaxed and your warmer muteds will prefer those natural fibers too. And when it comes to percentages, it's your own, again, own personal preference and what feels comfortable for you. There are a lot, and they're not synthetic, they're actually natural fibers, but they've been man-made. So viscose, I believe, is one of those. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But also looking at bamboos and things like that too. And we're finding that the cost of those are going down as well. Thank you, Nikki. That was a great question. So the top 4 so far is to make a list. Don't get distracted by the bright, shiny objects, which for me is sequins, sparkles, and glitter. 2, what you want to do is remember the key 3. Remember your style personality, your color palette, and also your body shape. 3, it's looking and working out if the color is right. So reading the reviews, checking the different lights that the items have been taken in, the photos of the items have been taken in. And then number 4 is getting the cut, the shape, and the sizing right too. So that brings us to number 5, which I mentioned previously before, delivery and returns. So things are very, very different, needless to say. And so look, what I would say with delivery and returns, you really probably want to opt for a quick delivery at the moment, only because we don't really know what's happening or what's coming next. So the quicker we can have something delivered, the quicker we can make a decision on whether it's right or not for us, and then return the items that are not going to be right for us. So I would probably recommend making the investment in express delivery at the moment. Also, you want to make sure that you've got a longer return period just in case. So I know a lot of brands at the moment are offering 60 to 90 days returns. And again, just because we're not sure in terms of warehousing, whether they're going to stay open and things like that. So if there is a shutdown, then we can wait till the end of the shutdown to return those items. Some really good points that were made by a couple of people today was you also want to make sure that it is a refund return, not a credit return. So I thought that was a brilliant tip from Michelle, because you may not want to shop with that brand again. And if you're getting a credit, it may feel wasted. So definitely with that. So delivery and returns, quick delivery, you want to look for longer return periods. If you want to feedback or advice on whether something's right, post it here in the group. We have such a lovely group here, and they'll be happy to say yay or nay. And maybe you just do a little poll, yay or nay, and people can pop in and say, yep, keep it, no, don't need it. And also, I'd really love to know, if you want to put in the comments, is there anything in particular you're looking for at the moment? Is there something that you feel like is a gap in your wardrobe as well? Gabby's saying she thinks Bird's Nest has a great offer. You can choose a number of items, size, and try them on and return the unwanted items and only pay for what you love. That's fantastic. I think that's called their change room, I think, Gabby, if that's correct. That would be really, really good. So they're my top 5 tips. 1, make a list. Just go for the items that you really need over this next period. Number 2, you really want to remember the key 3, style, personality, color palette, and also body shape. 3, you want to make sure you get the color right. That's going to reduce the returns that you do. Less outings out. And number 4 is about really analysing the shape and cuts of garments that work for you. And if you do have My Private Stylist, then using that as a tool. I actually have it in hard copy, and I'll actually look at things that are really great for me or good for me, and then compare them to the shapes that are online, as well as necklines and collars and earring shape and everything like that too. And then really have a close look at the deliveries and returns as well. And I would opt for quicker delivery at this stage as well. Thank you so much. And Marianne is saying, I would love to keep supporting Australian brands and keeping their businesses going. Absolutely. And I think at the moment that is probably the most sensible and safest thing to do in terms of getting delivery at the moment. And some really great ones to have a look at are some of the smaller brands as well, because if they've got stock in-house, it's easy for them to keep everything ticking over. Another really great one, and I know we reviewed it, is the Good Garment, because they actually make everything to order. They've got stockpiles of fabric there that are sustainable, and they really think about long-term sustainability. They hand make them and then they ship them to you. So that would be a brilliant one. And I know that at the moment they're actually making face masks as well, and scrubs as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So big shout out to Good Garment. I think they are doing a fabulous job. So that's it from me this evening. I will hang around if you've got any more questions or if comments at all. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. And if you're homeschooling, I really feel for you. Anyway, I'll talk about that more in another post with that as well. Take care. Mwah.